It's June 17th here in Seoul, and I'm Kim Dami. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour, starting with the ongoing medical standoff here in the country. More than half of the professors at the Seoul National University Hospital are carrying out an indefinite suspension of medical services starting Monday in retaliation against a medical reform by the government. The government is tightening its emergency medical systems while urging the professors to do their duty. 80 countries have agreed to sign a joint statement backing Ukraine's territorial integrity and sovereignty at a peace summit in Switzerland. But India, Saudi Arabia, and South Africa, all members of the BRICS economic group with Russia, ruled themselves out of the communique. A wildfire dubbed the Post Fire, which started in Southern California on Saturday afternoon, has resulted in a widespread damage and the evacuation of over 1,200 people. Professors at the Seoul National University Hospital are set to begin their walkout, with no resolution reached with the government over the medical school quota expansion. But the reduction in services will not affect severely ill patients. Yoon reports.
Medical professors at Seoul National University Hospital begin an indefinite walkout starting Monday over an ongoing medical dispute with the government. Professors from 3 affiliate hospitals, including Seoul National University Bundang Hospital, are also participating in the walkout. However, an emergency committee from the hospitals emphasized that essential care would continue for patients with severe illnesses and rare diseases during the period, and estimated an overall reduction in services of approximately 40%.
The walkout applies to regular outpatient treatments and scheduled surgeries for patients who can be managed at other hospitals or whose treatments can be delayed without significant impact for the time being.
The committee instructed professors who are participating in the walkout to be present and available at the hospital during their scheduled working hours. It also has a rally scheduled for Monday morning at the Seoul National University College of Medicine, which will be followed by a symposium at 1 p.m. under the title The Demise of Expert Groups. On Sunday, the Korean Medical Association presented 3 demands to the government, including reconsidering the medical school expansion and the canceling of administrative orders against medical trainees and students. However, the Health Ministry reiterated the government's position, saying there are no plans for change. This means that the Korean Medical Association will proceed with its plan for a one-day general strike on Tuesday. With growing concerns over the walkout, the government advised hospitals to consider pursuing claims for damages if prolonged action results in financial losses. The government on Sunday also announced plans to reinforce the medical emergency response system.
I don't believe all doctors have agreed to participate in a collective strike. I trust that the silent majority will continue to provide care for patients.
Based on the government's announcement, a rotational on-call system for emergency cases will be implemented starting Monday in an effort to minimize severe medical disruptions. Yoon, Arirang News.
President Yoon returned from his 3-nation tour of Central Asia over the weekend. As he set out his K-Silk Road initiative, Korea's first strategy to increase cooperation with the region. We have our correspondent Oh Soo-young, who traveled with the president. Welcome back, Soo-young.
Great to be here, Tammy.
So, 3 nations, 3 summits, and dozens of deals for South Korea. First, give us a recap of the major outcomes.
Sure, Tammy. So, as you said, President Yoon clinched major deals with Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan during his state visits last week. First, Korea landed significant deals on transport, energy and infrastructure in all 3 countries. Now that includes working on Turkmenistan's gas processing facility, smart city infrastructure in Kazakhstan and high-speed rail systems in Uzbekistan. And that would be the first time South Korea has exported its high-speed rail technology to another country. Another major achievement was establishing critical mineral partnerships with Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. That is crucial for South Korea's foremost high-tech industries, such as semiconductors and batteries, which of course rely on stable supplies of minerals like nickel, lithium and tungsten. Korea also secured stable supplies of crude oil and uranium for nuclear energy in Kazakhstan. Now, stretching beyond economic security, President Yoon's office says Korea's basic resource cooperation has evolved into a mid to long-term sustainable strategic partnership with the region.
It was clear that Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan were eager for our country's cooperation for construction and modernization in various industrial fields. For Central Asian countries, they are trying to promote economic development by taking advantage of the trade and capital flows that began to increase rapidly to the Central Asian region due to the war in Ukraine. This is an opportunity to find a solution that aligns the interests of both parties and mutually beneficial.
In this regard, key deals were signed on fostering green technology as a response to climate change, concessional loans and development assistance, agricultural technology for food security, research and technology in cutting-edge fields, along with education and vocational training, as well as support for young innovators. There was also solidarity on regional and global challenges. All three countries joined South Korea in calling for the complete denuclearization of North Korea. The support of these former Soviet republics is particularly significant ahead of Russian President Vladimir Putin's expected visit to Pyongyang, which could enhance their weapons cooperation.
So this all ties into the so-called K-Silk Road initiative launched earlier this month. Now, we heard why what it's about, but why are partners with Central Asian countries so critical?
Well, I would say that the biggest reason is really the long list of global complexities and uncertainties that we face in trade and geopolitics, as power rivalry, economic nationalism, and the race for technological supremacy continues to intensify, especially with the war in Ukraine and now the Israeli-Hamas conflict in the Middle East. Central Asia's strategic importance has grown as a geographical bridge between Asia and Europe, with major powers vying for access to key resources and the so-called Middle Corridor trade route. However, Seoul's approach goes beyond the interests of economic security. Its new K-Silk Road initiative aims to build not only resources cooperation with 5 Central Asian countries, but also partner with them on their developmental challenges and increase cultural cooperation and interpersonal exchanges, really tapping into their young and dynamic demographics. South Korea may actually have an advantage here due to its pragmatic diplomacy and soft power.
Our country refrains from unilateral cultural diplomacy and pursues two-way cultural exchange. Cultural performance of our artists, K-food, K-beauty is very popular in Central Asia, as already known. But at the same time, we could note that Central Asian countries have recently visited Korea at the invitation of our local government and are introducing various cultural performance in Seoul. The fact that there are so many volunteers participating in the activities of Korean Cultural Center in Astana and Educational Center in Tashkent, and overflowing numbers of applicants for the topic, the Korean language test, can be said to be the fruit of two-way cultural diplomacy.
So 3 nations, 7 days. I have to ask you, was the trip successful?
Well, you saw these scores and scores of MOUs, memorandums of understanding, the deals signed between Korea and these 3 Central Asian countries. But I would say what was quite striking was the trust and personal friendship between Yoon and the leaders of each country. That was very conspicuous. In Turkmenistan, for instance, the ever-powerful former President Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov got in the same car as President Yoon to actually give him a personal send-off at the airport, and he even waved as the plane took off. He also presented President Yoon and First Lady Kim Gon-hee with Turkmen dogs, 2 Central Asian Shepherd puppies, who are actually going to join the dog-loving first couple in Yongsan this very week, on Tuesday, I believe. And in Kazakhstan, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, he invited President Yoon to watch a cultural performance with him of Korean and Kazakh artists, and also introduced him to his dog. While in Uzbekistan, President Shavkat Mirziyoyev personally guided President Yoon in Samarkand, and he introduced him to the World Heritage City, and he also accompanied him to the airport along with his wife and his daughter. So this kind of affinity, I think, was tangible, very palpable, and it wasn't only felt at the top level, but all across society, particularly with the nearly 300,000 ethnic Koreans residing in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Local press built up anticipation for President Yoon's arrival and summits with their leaders, and a lot of people I talked to on the personal level as well. Even, I would say, 2 young school children in Uzbekistan actually came up to me and they gave me a hug and said they love Korea. So I think it's quite clear, Korea's soft power is really at its prime, and it could be further utilized to boost its diplomatic network, particularly as Korea aims to become a global pivotal state in a world of complex crises.
We have to flexibly adapt to rapidly changing relationships between countries. The implementation of a K-Silk Road strategy, following the Indo-Pacific strategy and cooperation initiative with the ASEAN countries, is evaluated as a rapid and flexible strategy. In addition, we hope to play a leading role in the areas facing humanity. For example, climate change, frequent confrontations and wars, refugees, human rights, and poverty reduction. As the status of the country of South Korea rises, there are many tasks that require burden and responsibility, and we should make every effort not to disband the expectations of other countries and other people.
That was indeed a full week of Silk Road diplomacy for you, and thanks for coming in today, Soo-young.
Always great to be here, Tammy. Thanks for having me.
The Ukraine Peace Summit came to an end after 2 days in Switzerland. But the event ended with many of the major countries not signing the joint communique. Lee Seung-jae reports.
Over 2 years since the start of the war in Ukraine, countries continue to look for a way to bring it to an end. However, at the end of the 2-day Ukraine Peace Summit held in Switzerland, a number of countries were unable to come to an agreement over the wording of a joint communique and decided not to sign it. The joint communique was signed by 80 out of 93 participating countries and 3 EU institutions: the European Parliament, the Council of the European Union, and the European Commission. Russia was not invited to the event, and China did not join despite an invitation. Among the countries that decided not to sign the joint communique were members of BRICS, including Brazil, India, South Africa, and the UAE. However, other major countries also decided to take a more neutral stance, including Mexico and Indonesia. The failure to sign comes despite the fact that the joint communique takes into account the participation of BRICS members and does not explicitly condemn Moscow for its actions. Instead, it recalls the Charter of the United Nations, reaffirming its commitment to refraining from the threat or use of force against territorial integrity or political independence of any state, adding that the principles of sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of all states, including Ukraine, must be respected. It also condemns any threat to use nuclear weapons, while favoring the protection of Ukrainian power plants, including Zaporizhia, which Russia currently occupies. The declaration also calls for unhindered grain exports from Ukraine, the exchange of prisoners of war, and the return of children and other civilians abducted from Ukraine to Russia. Co-host Switzerland said it's looking into a follow-up event with Russia invited to participate. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
The Israeli military announced Sunday that it will halt fighting during daytime hours in southern Gaza to free up a backlog of humanitarian aid. The military said the tactical pause will begin at 8 a.m. and continue until 7 p.m. daily until further notice. The move will allow for trucks to deliver aid to Palestinians in areas that have been obstructed since Israeli ground troops moved into Rafah in early May. However, according to Israeli media, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed opposition and called the measure unacceptable, while stressing offensives in Rafah would proceed as planned. Going to a hair salon or a barbershop is a normal part of life for most people. But for people with disabilities and limited mobility, even going once can be quite challenging. Now, there's a special salon designed for these people. Our Choi Soo-hyung has more.
It's an ordinary hair salon in Seoul, but it has no steps or stairs. It's a salon created by Noongu District Office just for the district's disabled residents. The first branch opened 2 years ago, and due to the overwhelming demand, it established a second branch within just 1 year. In November 2023, the Hue Hair Cafe opened its second branch in Noongu District. Here at the Gongneung branch, even the smallest barriers have been removed to improve access for disabled customers. There are braille blocks near the entrance, and charging facilities are available for electric wheelchair users. The mirrors in the lavatory are installed lower than usual. Everything from haircuts to dyeing and shampooing can be done all at once without moving to a separate shampoo room. The cost for a haircut is around $5, and even a perm is less than $14. Data from the Korea Consumer Agency in May shows the average cost for a haircut in downtown Seoul is over $15. Before the Hue existed, the customers' family members usually cut their hair at home, or they visited a regular salon once every 2 or 3 years.
So good to be here. It's affordable, there's a restroom inside, and I can do everything from cutting to styling my hair all at once.
The hair designer said that she just focuses on making customers happy.
Serving customers is my job here at the hair shop anyway. I provide the exact same service like others. I'm just a hairstylist. When customers leave satisfied with their hairstyle, it makes me happy. That's all.
The Noongu office has been communicating with disabled people and their families about what they need in their daily life.
There are several joint bodies for communicating with disabled individuals in our district office. They have consistently requested hair salons. In response, Noongu office has taken the initiative to assess and establish these facilities.
An expert said the facilities only for disabled people might seem like another form of segregation, but these disabled-friendly spaces are still necessary.
We need to consider whether there have been sufficient facilities available for disabled people in the region until now. For most people, going to libraries, coffee shops, hospitals, and hair salons is so normal in their daily lives. However, for disabled people, it was hard to access these common facilities in the local community.
She added that more support and attention is needed from both the public and private sectors.
I hope that private and public sectors can collaborate more to create barrier-free facilities. When the government supports private business owners trying to make disabled-friendly hospitals or salons, it could become easier.
Customers at the Hue Hair Cafe said that they hope hair salons for disabled people can one day be found nationwide. Choi Soo-hyung, Arirang News.
Last week was an exciting one for BTS fans, with member Jin returning from the military and the band celebrating the 11th anniversary of their debut. Our culture correspondent Song Yoo-jin has this story.
둘, 셋, 방탄. 안녕하세요. 방탄소년단입니다. 아미.
The first of the 7 BTS members is back. Jin, the eldest and the first to begin his 18-month mandatory military service, was discharged from the army on June 12th. Now he's back with his devoted armies. The 31-year-old wasted no time and held a fan meet and greet the very next day. For fans, it felt like a double celebration as the event was part of the annual BTS Festa. So every year, BTS holds this BTS Festa to celebrate the anniversary of the band's debut, June 13th, with their fans. Now this year, despite the temperature soaring above 30 degrees Celsius, as you can see, the festival site is packed with fans. Although it's been 2 years since BTS announced their hiatus as a group, fans have shown their unwavering love and support, giving Jin the warmest welcome.
My bias is Yoon, so yes, Kim Seok-jin. So he comes back, and I don't know, I feel like my favorite person in the world, you know, come back to me, and it's really important.
So the wait of like 1.5 years, like it came to an end, and we see him so happy so handsome. It made us feel like so proud.
Experts credit this to the members staying connected with fans by releasing music prepared before their enlistment.
Recently, the industry has been trying to minimize the military hiatus for male celebrities. This approach is also seen with actors like Park Bo-gum and Lee Do-yeon, who released movies while doing their service. Additionally, fans now feel the wait is shorter because the military service period has been reduced to about 1.5 years.
Fans say it's because of the group's unique charm and continued loyalty.
Their performance and skills are always top-notch. There's no one like them.
A lot of things happened in the pandemic, and the BTS look like saved me in this moment.
The countdown to BTS's full reunion has begun, promising an exciting new chapter in the group's career, once they reconvene as a complete group after June 2025, when all 7 members finish their military service. 송유진, Arirang News.
Good morning, I'm Kim Xiang, and now we turn off to stories from around the world. We begin today in the US, where over 1,000 people have been forced to evacuate due to a wildfire in Southern California named the Post Fire, which has burned over 12,000 acres as of Sunday afternoon local time. According to the Los Angeles County Fire Department, the California State Park Service has evacuated 1,200 people, mainly campers in Hungry Valley Recreation Area in Gorman, and closed off the site along with the Pyramid Lake Reservoir. According to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, the blaze started on Saturday near the Interstate 5 freeway in Gorman, some 100 kilometers northwest of Los Angeles. Authorities reported that over 300 firefighters, including air tanker crews, are working to contain the fire. While the cause of the fire remains under investigation, CAL FIRE has said that only 2% has been contained as of Sunday. While this year's Hajj pilgrimage is in full swing in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, the intense heat has left at least 14 pilgrims dead, while over a dozen have been reported missing. Jordan's foreign ministry said that 14 of its nationals died after suffering sunstroke due to the extreme heat wave, while an additional 17 have been reported missing. Jordanian authorities said that they are continuing the search for those missing. The Iranian Red Crescent has also confirmed the deaths of 5 Iranians, but didn't specify the cause of death. Temperatures in Mecca and Medina soared to over 46 degrees Celsius. Saudi's weather authority had warned of an increase in average temperatures by up to 2 degrees above normal. The Saudi press agency reports that a medical center near Mount Arafat also recorded 225 cases of heat stress. The 5-day-long pilgrimage ends on Wednesday. Moving over to Germany, a man with a pickaxe who threatened police officers in the city of Hamburg was shot down by police on Sunday. Police have reported that it is now receiving medical attention. A Hamburg police spokesperson confirmed that the suspect was armed with a pickaxe and also tried to ignite a petrol bomb before being pepper sprayed and shot. While local media reported the incident took place near the Euro 2024 tournament fan zone for supporters of the Dutch football team, a Hamburg police spokesperson stressed that they are assuming it to be an isolated case, which means it is not football related. A group of around 20 people broke into a jewelry store in Sunnyvale, California last week, smashing display cases and running off with stolen items. The robbery took place last Wednesday in broad daylight at 1:27 p.m. local time, targeting the P&G jewelers. The suspects fled in groups in multiple vehicles before police arrived, but the police reportedly only managed to spot 2 of the vehicles. While on the chase, officers lost sight of one of the vehicles, while 5 suspects in another vehicle were apprehended after attempting to flee on foot. According to the Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety, the 5 arrested suspects were booked into the Santa Clara County Jail and faces charges including armed robbery, felony vehicle evasion, resisting arrest, burglary and vandalism.
Good morning. After some slight heat relief on Saturday, the heat is back again. And especially those in Gangneung will notice temperatures jumping nearly 5 degrees this afternoon. It will keep getting hotter through the midweek, with a chance of record-breaking warmth in store on Wednesday for most of Korea. Grab your sunglasses and pack some extra water as you head outside. Sun-filled skies will boost UV rays to very high levels this afternoon, except on Jeju Island, where spotty rain is in the forecast under cloudy skies. Speaking of Jeju, the resort island seems to be the only area with temperatures around the norms. Inland regions will have much hotter temperatures under sunny skies at 30 degrees here in Seoul, 31 for Chuncheon, Daegu, Daejeon, and Gwangju this afternoon. But again, 30 degrees might sound much more comfortable by Wednesday when the mercury hits 34 in the capital. Meanwhile, Jeju will be rainy from Wednesday through Friday. With that in mind, let's take a look at the international weather conditions.
We thank you for watching New Day at Arirang. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 9 a.m. Korea time.